and as a student of environment who understand the question, issue we talk about in relation to what we call early warning in the face of an impending disaster. We should categorize from this meeting that Isimba Dam is an impending disaster, and it requires immediate attention without discussion. And this could be the conclusion of the matter in this meeting, Chair, and all members in this meeting. We were there 2 years ago. All of these matters were promised to us. The dam shut down, and it became a quick emergency. We all ran like headless chicken to fix it. Divers went down, and they discovered all these matters, and we are still here in the boardroom. I wouldn't think we are going to be taken serious if nothing happens out of this meeting, Chair. Thank you.
Because I have seen these dams elsewhere where they have killed thousands of people. Yes. And now we are here looking at a problem, and we have already detected that there can be danger out of it, and the contractor is safely seated in Beijing and not bothered and not even concerned about the gravity of the problem. So what we need to get out of this, we need a clear, precise answer how we get out of this problem. Otherwise, I don't see value for our time here. If you are not taking responsibility of these defects, all these defect liabilities which have been technically portrayed through all the technical information we have received here in Parliament, we must find an answer for these technical liabilities. We cannot really keep allowing shoulder work in this country. We have seen enough of this shoulder work, and this is a government taxpayers' money. So we cannot really afford to come and be belittled in this meeting with this rigmarole of this Chinese contractor not giving us facts and not even showing concern and taking responsibility about this magnitude of the problem. So I need that answer before these people leave here. They must, otherwise we should detain them here until they give us proper answer. We cannot allow you to live here.
As the contract administrators of this project, but also, like you mentioned, Chair, we are the ones in charge of operating this facility, operating and maintaining the facility. Chair, like you have rightly mentioned, through our routine dam safety inspections, we were able to discover the defects on the spillway using divers and underwater cameras. Now, the concern we have, Chair, these deficiencies were discovered in 2022. Now we are in 2025, and we had a schedule where the contractor was supposed to carry out emergency repairs under phase 1. That was partially done. And then in phase 2, they were supposed to do a river diversion so that we can effectively carry out dry inspections and confirm the extent of the damage. And thereafter, the contractor was supposed to now carry out effective repairs. Then phase 3 of the remedial works is where the contractor, through the physical model testing that is ongoing, was supposed to inform us of the root causes and also to evaluate whether we are going to need an additional spillway or not. So, Chair, our concern is that the recent underwater inspections revealed that the the concrete that forms part of the spillway continues to degrade, but also part of the riverbed is undergoing what we call scouring. Scouring is like a erosion of the riverbed. Now, Chair, if we continue to delay, there is a risk that we could have backward erosion that extends up to the foundation of the dam, and then we could have a dam failure. Now, a dam failure would really be catastrophic, especially to the communities that live downstream of the dam, but also in terms of economic loss to the country, it would be so significant. So, Chair, that's why we really appreciate the efforts the committee is taking to make sure that this issue is resolved as quickly as possible. There is also an issue on the embankment dam, Chair, where the instruments have indicated that there is a likely potential of water seeping through the embankment dam, and that also needs urgent attention. I know the contractor has already brought experts. They've carried out some inspections using sophisticated equipment, but we are yet to receive the report to confirm whether actually there is a leakage in the embankment dam or not. And lastly, Chair, I know the focus today is on Isimba, but Chair, you remember that last week you also visited Nampanyi, and Nampanyi, Chair, is a plant that we inherited from Jacobson, the people who built the plant and handed it over to government. And Chair, we inherited this plant with the deferred maintenance, and for us to be able to continue running the plant, Chair, we need money to refurbish the engines or the units of the plant.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, even our friends who are attending the meeting together with us all the way from China, you are most welcome to this meeting. Our work at Parliament, so I most sincerely apologize because I delayed when I went to meet Right Honorable Speaker. But nonetheless, I want to appreciate you for coming for this meeting. This is a meeting of the Parliamentary Committee on Environment and Natural Resources with the Minister of Energy and Mineral. Gentlemen, the committee visit was premised on the fact that during consideration of the budget framework paper for financial year 2025-2026, the committee heard that there were a few operational, structural, and technical challenges at the dam. And indeed, the committee heard that at the dam, we had structural integrity problems with the spillway, the main spillway. We also heard that there were some problems with the embankment of the dam on either side. Indeed, the committee paid a visit to Isimba Hydropower project on Monday the 10th of February 2025. Our main object was to assess the operational status of power generation at Isimba and its contribution of power to the national grid. We also intended to examine the challenges that are affecting project implementation, especially the reasons for delay, the causes of defects, if any, the remedial action taken to address the defects on the hydropower project, and also, inter alia, to establish the contractor performance status. Ladies and gentlemen, another object that we had was also to have an on-site examination of the structural integrity of the facility based on what we had heard in the committee. Last but not least, we intended to engage the stakeholders, the relevant stakeholders, on a number of issues regarding the operation, maintenance, and the status of the dam in order to establish remedial action and corrective measures to urgently be undertaken in order to save this important facility. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Isimba hydropower project is one of the projects that the government of Uganda intends to have contribute at least 183 megawatts of power onto the national grid. It is a project that is situated along River Nile, one of the main water bodies from Uganda running down towards Egypt. This dam was commissioned about 4 years ago, and the committee was very much concerned to learn that within the first 4 years, we already had not necessarily challenges arising out of wear down or probably breakdown of some of the facilities at the project, but indeed challenges arising out of structural defects, which, for want of a better English word, are as a result of poor workmanship. Indeed, while at the dam, we established, both from the presentation and from the on-site observation, that there was a problem with the main spillway of the dam. As a committee, we sought explanation from the Honorable Minister, who was gracious enough to be with us. We sought a word from UEGCL, which is running the dam on behalf of the government of Uganda. We also sought some explanation from the owner's engineer, who is the eye and the ear of the owner, the government of Uganda, on the dam. And then we also asked for a comment in reply from the contractor. We received this, and the committee, at the end of the day, felt that our engagement at Isimba was inconclusive. Because as people's leaders, as people's representatives, and as custodians of oversight of all government projects, Isimba hydropower dam costed the government of Uganda up to $567 million. It's a flagship project. At a time where our government focuses on electricity as one of the key drivers of the attainment of the NDP4, National Development Plan 4 of this country, we cannot afford to have some of these facilities going down. One of the things that the members of parliament were very much concerned was the lack of a specific, structured, and well thought out plan to either remedy or to correct these defects. Number two, we were a little bit also concerned that we noted that there was disharmony in approach of addressing these issues between the owner's engineer, who is our representative as a government, and the contractor. But lastly, that the contractor did not demonstrate to the members of parliament vivid commitment that these are the steps that are going to be undertaken to save this very important project. Therefore, the committee chose that since they were out of time, we could continue with this meeting this morning here in Kampala. Honorable colleagues, this is my expose of some of your observations and comments before we suspended the meeting at Isimba, with a promise that we shall continue today.
Electricity in our country. As you may recall, the project was commissioned on 21st of March 2019 by His Excellency the President of Uganda. Isimba is the third largest government plant and is critical in the generation of electricity. Honorable members, Chair, in our last engagement, we highlighted Isimba's current operational status and its contribution in Uganda's generation mix, and revenue generated to date, which stands at $200 million. During our engagement, we extensively discussed key outstanding issues, which include the required remedial works of the spillway, the ongoing investigations on the right embankment dam, and the need to align the current interim contract's all-risk insurance with the engineering, procurement, and construction contract. Honorable members, the ministry took note of a number of concerns which were highlighted during our engagement and has prepared a written response to these issues. We may not need to dwell on those minor issues. I request that we focus on the key issues that we have on the table. The spillway, the right embankment dam, and alignment of the current interim contractors' all-risk insurance. Therefore, our interaction today is timely and will go a long way in finding lasting solutions towards addressing the outstanding project challenges and ensuring the sustainable and safe operations of the plant, whose electricity supply is critical for the socio-economic transformation of our country. I wish to thank the chairperson and you, the honorable members, once again, and also my team for due diligence, and I look forward to good deliberations, and I count on the committee to deliver this project such that it serves the purpose that it was designed for. The chairman highlighted the amount of money committed, and we need to get a value for money in this dam to serve the 100 years of the expected lifespan. Most of those dams can serve beyond 100 years, but let's start with a minimum of 100. That's what we envisaged this dam would serve this country for. So with this, I thank you again, Honorable Chair. I say all this for God and my country.
Honorable Christine, that Christine is already applauding the chairman, for receiving with applause the minister's statement, which is brief, concise, and clear. At this juncture,
we have already shut down 2 units, because if we continue to run those units, you would eventually damage all the engines. And Chair, like we informed you, we really need a supplementary budget to make sure that we carry out the required maintenance for the diesel generators, so that we can continue running this power plant. It is important in the energy mix of the country and also for energy security. Thank you, Chair.
I thank you so very much.
此是从我们总部这边要对我们所提交的资料或者是说的这个工作的话，要做一个真实性的这么一个陈述或者是宣誓。王总。
Serves directly. Everyone that speaks in a meeting room of a parliamentary proceeding addresses each other through the chairman. I gave you a dispensation. I want to suppose that you are in a process of appointing a nominee that will take oath on your behalf. Is that correct?
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Have you therefore nominated somebody who will take oath on the behalf of CWE? No, the president is there. He may choose that it's not. By way of mentioning a name, who in your team, who is physically in this meeting, will take oath on your behalf?
Chair.
Mr. Chen. Okay. Can Mr. Chen rise up and I see you? First rise up. Who is Chen? Okay. That's even better. So can we start by Clark? Are you ready? Can we start with the owner's engineer? Severally liable. Severally in the sense of CWE. Individually because the rest can disown what you say. So you each take an oath individually if you're going to respond to a question, okay? So can we start with that process, please? The signing can happen, but let's take the oath. They will raise their hands, one by one.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I said the oath as you reply to it. Right hand, please. Right hand. I, Mr. Shah,
I am Mr. Chen.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that the evidence I shall give touching the matter
that evidence I give in such a matter
before the Parliamentary Committee on Environment and Natural Resources
before the Parliament, Environment and Water Resources
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me, my God.
Sean,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that the evidence I shall give
that the evidence that I shall give
touching
the evidence that I shall give
touching the matter before the Parliamentary Committee
touching the matter before the Parliamentary Committee
on Environment and Natural Resources
on the environment and the natural resources
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and the nothing but the truth.
So help me, my God.
So help me, my God.
I, Gamal Abdel Fattah,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that the evidence I shall give
that the evidence that I give
touching the matter before the Parliamentary Committee
touching the matter for the Environment Committee
on Environment and Natural Resources
and Environment and Natural Resources
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
all the truth,
the whole truth,
all truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me Allah.
So help me Allah.
Ruhunda, Member of Parliament for Poto Tourism City, Central Division, and a historical member of this committee.
Parliament for Boyamba in Rakai district, and I am a member of this committee.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Agastrict, and I'm a member of this committee. Thank you.
Of this committee. Thank you. My name is Kwizera Eddie, Member of Parliament and member of this committee.
Who of you, Honorable, is from the tourism? The other one is saying tourism city. For you, tourism?
Kwizera comes from Chisoro district, the most visited.
Request the owner's engineer and the contractor to talk to remedial works on the spillway as the supervisor of the works highlighted. Spillway is critical for the safety of the dam. Number two, the ongoing investigations on the right embankment dam. You know, that one is also critical. If the wall is washed away, the repercussions are severe for the people downstream and also for the dam itself. And number three, the need to align the current interim contractors' all risk insurance with the engineering, procurement, and construction contract. These need to talk to each other. As we go into these remedial works, that's actually security for the government. Because in case there is any failure, we need to have an insurance that covers all the damages that may occur when we are doing the repairs. Those are the three critical elements. What the chief executive brought in, that one is for the committee. We're actually looking for money to sustain the safety of electricity supply in this country through Nampanyi thermal power plant. That's for the committee and the ministry to discuss on the way forward. Those are the three things that I would emphasize should come out clearly. Thank you, Chair.
What I'd like to do as well to those, explain to those present, is just give you a very brief view of some other elements at Isimba so that we have full visibility in terms of where we are today. Just to start, it's been 6 years. It's actually 4 years was said during the introductions, but it's actually been 6 years since commercial operation date. And as a professional engineer and the owner's engineer's representative, that is clearly unacceptable. It should be unacceptable to everybody in this room. 6 years is too long. This is why the contract identified only 2 years for a defect liability period with a maximum 2-year extension, okay? So just to start with that. What we see on the screen, everybody, is a very brief summary of the main elements of work remaining at Isimba. These should be viewed as the most critical elements of work. We start with the mechanical activities. Most of these activities are ongoing, different stages of progress and, let's say, works closeout. So firefighting system, P2 pumps, cranes, we have preparations for outage activities about to commence. Black start, which is another critical element of works for the power plant. I think we're all aware of this. We are very close now to achieving, let's say, works acceptance with the OE. We come on to the civil works themselves. You can see on the screen the top two items of work, spillway works, which we'll come on to, and the right embankment dam. And then, of course, we have some other, let's say, works in terms of project closeout and documentation. So that's just a start, okay, in terms of where we are to date. Now, if you just look underneath, you can also see we have the identification of unit outages. The contractor and the OE and also the operator, we've been working very hard for the last 18 months to prepare for the main unit outages. In essence, we have a whole year's worth of work to attend to the 4 main units. Each unit is broken up into 90 days, a 90-day cycle. And within the next 4 to 5 weeks, the contractor should qualify as being ready to start the main outage works. However, as mentioned by the Honourable Minister, there's a major roadblock at the moment, which is the resolution of the CAR insurance issue. So I would very much welcome that this is discussed at length at this meeting, and as a project we try to find a way forward. Okay? We'll just wait for the screen to catch up. Okay. Now then, I mentioned 6 years after commercial operation date, and I'm not proud, in fact the opposite, to say and inform the meeting that as a project we do not have a master completion schedule, one that has been accepted by the owner's engineer. Again, this is completely unacceptable by any industry standard. If we don't have an an approved schedule, in essence, we don't have a direction or a way forward in terms of scope of work and timeline. And I really want to press that one point home. This is an urgent and most critical matter that needs to be resolved. And as the OE, we are waiting for the contractor, who's obviously responsible to manage their scope of works, to present such schedule so that we can approve this, and then we have direction to go forward. So please pay attention to that particular point, everybody. This is very serious. we don't have an approved schedule that outlines the roadmap to complete Isimba. Okay. I shall move on. Please stop me, anybody, if there's any questions, okay? Okay, also from the agenda presented prior to this meeting, there was a particular note about defects liability and some questions raised there, and also what is the current status for the project. So defect liability period as per the contract ended on the 31st of March 2023. The reason why it ended on this date, it was the contract would not allow for any extension. We maxed out at 4 years after commercial operation date. So 2 years under normal circumstances with a 2-year extension. However, the contractor remains responsible to complete all of those defects raised within that 4-year period. And right now, as we sit here today, the contractor is ongoing with closing out those defects. Okay. There's also another point of information, and that is in December of 2024, the employer and the contractor signed what is known as Addendum 6. This is a variation to the contract, and essentially Addendum 6 identifies particular elements of work that the contractor shall complete, to which the OE shall validate, and to which a new defect warranty period will be assigned, okay? So I'll just read this quickly. A 2-year defect warranty period, now we call it DWP, not DLP, because that's a particular contractual term that has ended. So a DWP shall be applied to the powerhouse roof, flammable storage building, floating boom and weed harvester, draft tube and spiral casing coatings, and the spillways once each of these works are completed. This was negotiated carefully between MEMD, or employer, and the contractor. During this period, should any defects arise in the above specified works...
Excuse me,
please.
Do we have a printed copy of this submission?
Well, for sure, this is Addendum 6. This is signed by both parties.
A presentation, do you have a copy, a printed copy?
Absolutely. No, not here, no, not today.
No. Okay, fine. We can have it later.
Apologies.
Okay, no worries, no problem.
Now, with regards to the spillway, if the spillway can such defects or making good, such defects during the DWP shall be extended by a period equal to the period to which the spillway cannot be used. However, the DWP of the spillway shall not be extended by any more than a maximum of 2 years. Okay, I've brought this to the meeting's attention because this was raised in the agenda as issued prior to this meeting. Okay. Okay, so let's get down to the spillway itself, rehabilitation and the right embankment dam. Just some background information. The spillway was rejected.
Technical team, is there a way that we can have the presentation in full view so that the characters are a little bit bigger for the members to see? Because the presentation is on the screen, can we make it full view? Huh? It's in PDF. Oh, it's not a PowerPoint. Oh, okay.
And you probably shouldn't ask me to touch this.
Yeah, but you're giving the chair an advantage that his members are not enjoying. So, okay, engineer, you have it? It's in your computer? Please send it on an email of one of my team members, and they have it printed. Eric, can they send it to you? Give him your email. So you can have back the computer. So in the meantime, you can continue.
Okay, thank you, Chair. But again, it's important we establish the background, the contractual responsibilities as to, let's say, the contractor's obligations, okay? So the spillway was rejected by the OE in 2022 as it was deemed to be not fit for purpose, okay? Addendum number 6 December 23, clearly identified the contractor's responsibilities and obligations towards the repair of the existing spillway, clause 8, and also the contractor's obligations towards the investigation and any subsequent repair to the right embankment dam. This is the background, okay? Now then, everybody, your focused attention, please. This is important. Liability for spillway damages. So MEMD, UEGCL, OE, and contractor, we had a key meeting in Kampala on August the 28th, 2024, with attendance from senior CWE, let's say, management from Beijing. We were all here. And the following 4 key points are really it's a summary of, let's say, what came out of that meeting. CWE admitted responsibility that the spillway defects are due to an over-interpretation of the employer's requirements and the energy dissipation, let's say, criterion, number 1.
Would you like to just repeat for us, just repeat that more clearly for us?
Okay. So back to the key points, the 4 key points that we see on the screen from the meeting of August 28, 2024. The minutes of meeting are signed by all parties, so therefore deemed to be acceptable and representative of what was discussed and agreed. Here we go. CWE admitted responsibility that the spillway defects are due to over-interpretation of the energy dissipation requirements as expressed through the employer's requirements. For those who may not know, the employer's requirements are the key technical documents attached to the contract. Number 1. CWE also informed the meeting that they had no intention to continue or approach the dispute board for resolution of the existing spillway issues. Number 2. The reason why this was tabled at the meeting, because up until that point, the contractor had informed that they firmly intended to take such issues to the dispute board because there was such a disagreement over the cause of the damage and so forth. Number 3, extremely important, and as I understand, was a key point of discussion from the on-site meeting on the 10th of February. CWE agreed to consider alternative water control and temporary works for emergency and long-term solutions of the existing spillway if the existing Nile flow conditions persist. Now, we should spend a bit of time on this one. What this means in layman's terms is, if the contractor cannot gain access to the existing spillway through normal perceived means of management of the Nile flow, etc., that they would consider alternative means of managing the water flow. This was discussed at length at the last meeting. We are speaking about a third spillway or a water diversion, let's say, channel, okay? The 4th point, CWE agreed to bear all costs for defect repair works of the existing spillway. And to the reader, well, to me anyway, what that means is any and all costs associated to the repair or rehabilitation of the existing spillway as defined by the Addendum 6 contract obligations, CWE agreed to bear all such costs. These are in the minutes of meeting which are signed by all parties. Well, this is in the meeting, okay? I move on. Chair, again, back to your opening comments at the start of this meeting, you mentioned that there wasn't, or perhaps there wasn't a roadmap for the rehabilitation for the spillway repair works. There is. We have one, and it's been on the table for a long time. This is what we see on the screen. Essentially, with all defects at Isimba, be them, all defects, the first thing we follow a standard process. We identify the defect, we agree a technical solution through the contractor's proposal and the OE's acceptance thereof. Then we plan the works and we work the plan. We go ahead and we carry out the works on site. This is what we see on the screen. If you look at the center row, we can see defect identification, root cause analysis investigation, technical solution, repair works execution, and then the final box is repair works completion. You look above, we can see the spillway, and you look to the bottom, we can see the right embankment dam. Now, I'll say we as the project stakeholders, be it employer, be it OE, and also contractor project stakeholders, we know what to do in terms of the process, the roadmap. It's there, okay? Unfortunately, and again, nobody should be proud about this, unfortunately, after somewhat 2 years plus, because if the defect was identified in 2022, and we're now in 2025, I say 2 years plus, because I can't bring myself to say 3 years perhaps. We're only on the second phase of this rehabilitation process or roadmap. It's ongoing, both for spillway and RED, or right embankment dam, and we can speak about some of these details. But from the OE's perspective, this has not been an easy task. Whilst the contractor's obligations are clear through Addendum 6, let's just say, and I say this without prejudice, let's just say it seems every major sub-element of this roadmap, it's like a negotiation with the contractor. Whereas, you know, what the OE believes is required from an industry perspective, often the contractor wants to perform less. That's the clear view of the OE. This has been communicated to UEGCL and MEMD, and even as we sit here now, there's still some processes ongoing, but very, very slowly. In terms of the spillway itself, everybody, right now we are planning commitment. So on paper, everything's fine. Everything should be rosy. But the reality is, and again, without prejudice, what's said in the meetings, like the meeting of the 28th of August 24, when that translates into hard actions, either in the field, on site, or part of the design review and approval, it doesn't translate well. This process is too slow. We shouldn't be negotiating at the level that we are. The contractor's obligations are very clear in terms of Addendum 6, in terms of the root cause analysis, and also by their own admittance, they've said in other meetings, we need to have the water diversion. We need this so that we can get into for the existing spillway and perform the repair works. It's highly frustrating for all those involved, and I would appeal to the parliamentary committee today to seek further commitment but also real action from the contractor. Otherwise, my fear and that of my colleagues would be that we will be here again in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and as a project, it's not acceptable. Okay, Chair, that concludes the OE's presentation. For now, I hand the floor back to yourself, and I'm, of course, open to take any questions. Thank you.
The specific issues we want you to address is, what is your commitment in diverting the flow of the river so that we gain dry access to do the remedial and corrective works? Number 3, in as far as the issue of phase 3, of providing a lasting spillway solution which has the capacity to withstand the volume of the dam, what are the next steps that you'd like us to do in order to be able to ensure that the problem does not reoccur? I am happy about all the other stories, testing the model and so on and so forth. Those we can do. For now, we are saying that even as the spillway concrete works are wearing out, the foundation of the river is getting compromised. And therefore, risking for the river banks to give way, which has two consequences. One, a possibility of the entire dam getting washed away. Two, of the people who are downstream and close to the river getting into a disaster which is catastrophic. My questions, Mr. President, is I want us to address ourselves on the intermediate actions that we must take, both as you, the contractor, the owner's engineer, and we as the government of Uganda. I would like us to narrow it like that. Then you have promised us further engagements. We shall engage and talk about those other stories of testing models and so on and so forth. Those we will be able to watch with you and follow with you. For now, we would like you to address the issues as the way the minister had summarized for us. So, would you like to address yourself to those specific areas, please? Mr. President, I have listened to you. You have a very elaborate personal conceptualization of the issue. But what I would have expected you to do is to make direct reply to the opinion of the owner's engineer. Besides giving me this alternative, the other alternative, we could do this, we can conduct studies. I don't know how many studies you want us to do anyway. Because this is a situation where we have a project or a dam that has been running of the project. We are in the process of operation and maintenance of a running dam. So it is not enough for us to talk about we will carry out a study. This meeting is premised on emergency intervention with long-lasting solutions to an imminent problem on a strategic project. I don't know how I can explain myself better because I speak only English in as far as communication with you is concerned. But I want you to address the opinion of the owner's engineer in specific terms. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, recommended we do this or the other. The only part which I can tolerate from you as of now is the issue of testing the model in as far as providing a sustainable spillway capacity, which is an innovation for a wider aspect of the project. But currently, I am focused on immediate remedial works to save the dam. Interpreter, please ask the President very clearly, have I made myself clear? He has English, but he cannot speak. So, Mr. President, if you have very well... Okay, thank you. Please go ahead.
To rehabilitate the spillway at Isimba. Why? Because the whole of 2025 will be dealing with design, the root cause analysis, the PMT in China, and so forth. It's not working. Clearly something needs to change, because after 2.5 years, if we've only gained 8 months worth of progress, one would argue, even with 2 years ahead of us, you're looking at maybe 3.5 years, okay? The PMT in China, as we sit here today, it's currently been revised for a new date of March the 17th. It will not go ahead at the moment because right now we have a major disagreement with the contractor on what is a very simple procedure, that the PMT or the physical model needs to be modified so that it is more representative of the site conditions at Isimba. And I refer to the scourable bed scenario that was mentioned by the CEO at the outset. So I just want the whole meeting to be aware that it's one thing the contractor saying what's going to happen, but the reality is it hasn't been happening, and unless we see some significant change, it's not going to happen. That is the absolute clear position of the OE. We need to see considerable change, because what we've been doing for the last 2.5 years is not enough. Thank you.
I think the contractor is really, he's taking us to discussions we have always had. But I'm very disappointed that the contractor is saying that the dam is safe. Now that really scares me, because members of parliament there is a report that was done by the contractor himself in December last year. I think I've photocopied the conclusions for you. There is one page that is being shared. When you read the conclusions, it shows you the contractor himself is recommending prompt action to avoid further deterioration of the dam. He's clearly showing that you have reinforcement that has been exposed. There is the potential for corrosion going on. So for him to start downplaying everything, I think is not being very objective. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to share that page to show you that today the contractor says this, the next day he says something else. And really, that ping pong is what we have been in for the last 3 years. But the dam continues to deteriorate. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. President,
Yes, Chairman.
I am going to invite the members of parliament to interact with you.
Okay.
But I have page 169.
Porter. Could you turn to page 1, the cover letter?
I would like you to answer my question. You don't ask me a question when I've asked you a question.
Yeah.
I'm the chairman of this meeting.
Okay, sir.
Answer. Is this your report or not?
It's our report.
It's your report.
Yeah.
So do you believe there is a problem with the structural integrity of the dam or not?
Sir, I want to...
Go ahead, answer me. Do you believe there is a structural problem with the dam or not?
No.
So what did you state here? Did you lie?
No. Sir.
Chairman.
Go ahead, if you're speaking from the Zoom. Would you like to answer what I've asked Mr. Chen? Yes, please. Mr. President, I have not given you the liberty to address your team that is here in Chinese. I want only the interpreter online now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. In our reports, we categorize the defects which we observed from the underwater inspection. And for all the defects which we categorize, there is no structural defect risk.
Can I ask you a question just in response to what you have said?
Yes, sir.
What do you call those slabs down technically? The buffer blocks. Do you believe the buffer blocks are still the same size as those that you originally constructed down the river? Mr. President, if there is no structural problem with the dam, do you give this committee evidence that the buffer blocks are still the same size and shape as that which you constructed under the river?
Yes, Chairman.
They are still the same.
So my English...
No. Your English is not so good, but earlier on, you were understanding everything. My question is, the buffer blocks are those heaps of concrete that were supposed to reduce the velocity of the water. They are under the water. You have just said there is no structural problem. I have seen images of the diving inspection. They show me that from an estimate of about 2 meters, they are almost as short as half a meter now. My question to you is, Is it your evidence that the buffer blocks are still the same size as those that you constructed at the beginning?
Sir, size and shape is not the same.
Size and shape is not the same. In how long did you expect the size and shape to change?
Probably to buffer block.
How many years did you know, the buffer block is out of, among other materials, concrete and iron works, steel. In your view, how long should a substance made out of that wear out? How long should it take? I am sure you had the design. The design was done by you, the procurement was done by you, the construction was done by you, because you had an EPC contract. Tell me, in your design, how long was it supposed to take before they wear out? Is it supposed to be 100 years?
Yes, Chairman, wait here, and then I will talk Chinese to my interpreter.
Oh, it's about 100 years, correct?
Yes, wait here.
So between 2019 and today, no, just forget about 2022. Just use today, 2025. Between 2019 and today, how many years are those?
Procedure, Mr. Chairman.
Let him answer this, then procedure, can we? Yeah?
Honorable Chairman.
Yes.
That is auxiliary structure. That is not the new structure. This structure, it is like the variable brick, which needs to be replaced.
Okay, now, if you call that an auxiliary structure, what would you call the fence that surrounds the dam? Because if you call a member within the spillway an auxiliary structure, what would you call the wall fence around the facilities of the dam? Are they also auxiliary? Yes, if it is something that is part of the facilitation of running of the dam, is it an auxiliary, and what would you call a wall? Honorable Donald, you had a procedure matter?
Yes, the procedure issue I wanted to raise. The team from the contractor came here and took an oath who are being paid, living in luxurious places. We saw the houses there in Isimba, enjoying many things around, and they are here in this room. Isn't it procedurally okay, Chair, since they took the oath, to also answer some of these questions, because they already delegated, than us struggling with the English from their side when the people who are on the ground and I believe are technical are here? Chair, are we proceeding well if they are not answering it, if they take an oath?
On to your procedure matter together with that of the senior, Honorable Eddie Wagahugu Kwizera.
The Chairman told the same, because these ones are here and they...
Members, that one, you are domiciled and resident in Uganda because you are the resident representatives of CWE in Uganda, and that you are appointed to the positions that you are in because your employer is satisfied that you are competent enough to deal with the good and bad of the project that they have here with us. I am therefore invoking the powers of these committees to address both the President at his St. John in Beijing, together with yourselves, seated here in South Committee room at the Parliament premises. Members of Parliament, it is your time.
Procedure, Chair.
Honorable.
Procedure, Chair. Chair,
Yes.
this committee considers health as one of priorities here. And in fact, we have even a health person here employed by this parliament. People in China and people here have sat for so long. Even I'm realizing some signs of sitting for so long.
I want to appreciate the Honorable Minister and the CEO for the remarks that they made. Chair, first of all, with the statement that the Minister made that this is one of our key projects in the country, with reference now to the responses of the contractor, I have these concerns. It appears that if we don't take action as a committee, because the CEO actually pointed it out, that as a parliamentary committee on environment and natural resources, we need to engage the contractor. And bearing in mind that we should look at the aspect of safety as a key one in the country. And with a statement that there is a likely danger to Ugandans, basing on the fact that the safety of the dam is one thing. Could we hear from the contractor the level they have reached in addressing the defects that were identified earlier on? And also, Chair, in this meeting, I expected serious commitments from the contractor. Serious commitments. But what they are presenting is not giving us any hope. It's not giving us any hope. For how long are we going to continue pleading with the contractor when there are no commitments? Chairperson, look at one of the statements that was made, that China Water will bear all costs for defects repair work. I want us to look at that they will bear all the costs. Where is the problem that they are not able to take action because what is required has associated costs? Madam Chair, for now, when you look at the status of the works, it was categorized in 5 sections. 1, defect identification, which I feel was done. 2, the investigations, which I feel have also been done. 3, the technical solutions. I feel that the technical persons have done their work. Now, when you come to 4, repair works, execution, and completion, that is where there are issues. How are we going to move about with this? Because this is what is key. I am happy that the committee was taken for the field work, and we really witnessed what is going on in the dam. And especially, Chair, where we also take note that the foundation of the river is getting compromised. Now I have a question. Are we trying to wait until we end up in a deep pit and then we rise up? This is a question to the contractor. But also, Madam Chair, for now, what is now the value for money in this project, basing on the amounts that were hinted on by the minister? How far can we have an accountability of the money that they have taken so far? Because I don't see any seriousness in this. Look at the first paragraph of this sheet that were given. You'll realize that the urgent repair of level 2 defects to prevent further deterioration still remains with a question. If you read this sheet of paper, Chair, we are not seeing an action. So may I find out from the contractor how much time they needed to address these defects? Otherwise, the responses of the contractor, the no. Madam Chair annoys us the more. Up to now, I want to say that as a committee, we would come up with a summary of the immediate actions that we expect. If the contractor is not able to handle, then the contractor should withdraw. That is my proposal. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Yes, Dr. Mabolo.
Thank you very much. From the submissions of the members, my previous speakers they have done that. And as a student of environment who understand the question issue we talk about in relation to what we call early warning in the face of an impending disaster, we should categorize from this meeting that Isimba Dam is an impending disaster and it requires immediate attention without discussion. And this could be the conclusion of the matter in this meeting, Chair, and all members in this meeting. We were there 2 years ago. All these matters were promised to us. The dam shut down, and it became a quick emergency. We all ran like headless chicken to fix it. Divers went down, and they discovered all these matters, and we are still here in the boardroom. I wouldn't think we are going to be taken serious if nothing happens out of this meeting, Chair. Thank you.
Chair, the contractor lied and said power generation. I heard some few things he was speaking. Power generation has been stable. Sometime last year, there was complete shutdown of Isimba. Does he categorize that one as under stable power? How do they come and fool us around here, Mr. Chair, that there has been stable power? People are suffering with power everywhere, and there was complete shutdown of Isimba. Sometime last year, there was some crisis, and the man is telling us here in a meeting that power has been stable. Isn't this madness, Chair? Chair, I want to suggest that if these people who are in the meeting and on Zoom don't give us written commitment before they go with clear milestones and timelines about when they are going to rectify these problems, Chair, if they don't give us those clear written milestones and commitments, we should go ahead and recommend, in agreement with the minister and the team, that we terminate their contract. And we terminate it with cost, Mr. Chair, so that they also learn that Ugandans are very tough when it comes to our money, especially the money which we borrow, and our great-grandchildren will suffer to pay some of these loans that they are playing around with. Mr. Chair, submit.
The concerns, especially for the spillway and this red embankment dam. But I just want to elaborate here to all of the committee members. From EPC contract, we have done a lot of efforts, but it's pity from our owner engineer side did not say nothing. We cooperated with OE and the UGTCL team very close. Yes, we face the problem of the defects. We are working on this. And all of the defects, definitely the cost will be will be CW's cost. We never asked even when going from the Uganda government. Of course, we already spent a lot and we lose this project. From our side, we want to push this project as quick as possible to the final date. But since always two sides, here the contractor is a disadvantaged partner here. Everybody point out our problem. Yes, there is a problem, but from UGCL, from OE side, please give us full cooperation to push the works. Just like the permit, just like the approval of the RAMs and the proposal. This is our request.
Can I interject?
Chair, thank you.
Chair, when he tells us there's a problem, what is that problem? Tell us, which problem are you talking about? Because you have been saying there's no problem. What is that problem you're talking about? And how are you going to solve it?
Sir, I mean the problem of the defects. We already admit the defects. This is what we are doing. We have the 1,500 defects, now already 93% defects already complete. Yes, we still have some defects to go. Thank you, Chair.
Clarification, Chair. Can we now speak one language? The chairman on There are no structural problems. We are moving on well. In fact, in other words, without putting any words in his mouth, there's no problem. You are seated here, you have admitted there's a problem, and we are addressing it. Can we now sit down and agree there's a problem here, and this is how we are fixing it? We are looking for solutions. We do not want to firefight. We've known there is a problem, and it is likely to compromise the integrity of the entire HPP. That's what we are talking about. So can we now calm down? And we say, yes, there's a problem, and this is how we are addressing the issue of the dam, the issue of the spillway, the issue of the embankment, with very clear timelines and the commitments of how and when this is to be done.
In this one table, we are alignment. We want to have one position to solve this problem, definitely. But for the Isimba HPP, this is project. We, besides these political issues, we should discuss from the technical, engineering, and scientific between CWE and OE, the representative of the UEG0. Just we face some problem.
Inspection is done and the dry condition is already done. So we take the core sample of the concrete of existing spillway and plus the underwater repair work to see the analysis if this one can be used if required for the downstream underwater repair or not. So we take the sample and we selected the best 3 laboratory in the Kampala, in the certified, and we selected by the contractor and the UGCL, and these 3 laboratories, okay. We submit the core sample, and we wait the contractor to submit the result. 1 week, no. 2 week, no. 3 week, no. Is more than 4 months, is not submit the report. So I go by myself to the laboratory, I say, please, where is the result? And say the contractor is not allowed to give me because this is the owner. Finally, I'm not moved from the lab until I get the result in my hand. So the result is all the concrete sample is failed. The existing spillway and the plus the new emergency repair work. This means the structure is not safe, as mentioned by the President. Regarding the dry condition, the contractor submit the option B. Option B is underwater repair work for 1.6 thickness of the concrete on top of the existing spillway and plus 40 centimeter in the dry condition, so to build the dock and to get the dry condition after submitted to the OE, and the OEC is rejected. Why rejected? For the quality is not have the guarantee, the durability is not so clear, and the connection between the new slab with the pier and the vertical connection and the contractor is very difficult, will not answer. After some time, after he submit the proposal of the third spillway. So this means they already understand that it's possible to be the dry condition. So it's possible to make it the cover dam and to get to the existing spillway for permanent repair work. So he submit the third spillway as other option because he cannot follow the dam proposal before and he cannot answer to the OE. Okay, so the third spillway we said this is not up to the capacity, the charge capacity, because when you go into the existing one, you will make block, there is no charge. So I need to wait to charge according to the capacity of the existing one. Plus, the contractor requested for 4 unit outage for 1 year. So 1 unit will be out of operation. So this water for this unit have to find a way how to spill it. Plus, if there is any emergency for the somehow 1 unit to get the problem, so 2 units will be out of operation. So we'll have to find a way how to spill the incoming water. So the contractor, after is not respond to our comment regarding the charge capacity, the risk of the permanent bridge, because we have to, is this at the end of the right embankment dam, and will be affected the permanent bridge, so there is no answer. After them come back again to the existing spillway to make it the underwater inspection, and to repair the cavitation, and this one, I don't think this is the right way, because if the dam under the risk, you have to make it, you check the root cause analysis, what is the reason, and to avoid to having next, and to move forward. So is requesting to make it emergency under repair again. This is already done. We are not accepting emergency, we have to go direct to the permit solution and to finish and close out. We don't need to go just around and wasting the time. In the dam, we don't need to wasting the time. Dam can fail in one day.
Mr. Kamal, we have heard you very clearly. The challenge we had with the owner's engineer then, and it was again this very committee that impressed upon the ministry to discharge that owner's engineer. When at that point we discovered that there were major cracks on the dam. I remember we had lots of fights in Isimba. CWE then promised to do remedial action. There were things to do with overrun of its time, and at that time this committee insisted that we had a change an owner's engineer. I can understand now that pointless to say that there is a divergence between the current owner's engineer and them. They had been used to the person, they had been used to the person who was letting them do the things the way they wished. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Chairman, I want to, it is ordinarily supposed to be done by Ugandans, by the public, because that's the taxpayers' money. But because not everybody will do it, they entrust Parliament to appropriate funds. And they say the minister should go and do that project. So the minister assembles a technical team now to go and do the dam. But because of maybe a lot of work, maybe the capacity, now they advertise for a contractor for expertise. When the contractor comes in, you need specialization, expertise to be on the eyes of the government, the eyes of the owner, who is the owner's engineer. So I want to inform members and these engineers who are here that the faults you see in the dam is the fault of the owner's engineer. The owner's engineer's capacity is lacking. It can lack because they are not being listened to by the ministry, or they are not reporting appropriately. Or there is some underhand methods. The way the company was procured, the contractor was procured, can also affect the relationship between the ministry and the contractor. So I would think that the owner's engineer should tell this committee that we did identify this, and we wrote to government, and the letters are here, by evidence, not by word of mouth, that you identified, you made recommendations, and either government refused to listen to you, or the engineer did not follow. Because you are at the center. Documentally proved to the committee that the defects were identified, reported to your employers, or they communicated effectively to the contractor, and the contractor has failed either because of incapacity or negligence.
This question was asked to the owner's engineer at the other side. The owner's engineer said, at the time of their takeover, most of the superstructure works of the dam were done, including the spillway, because these are construction-related ones. At this stage, their job was to deliver the project into productivity. But on the way, they noticed that there were things that were going wrong. They could not have, at this stage, immediately redeemed the other one, but from the time they noticed the problem, they have been in this process, back and forth. Can you have this done? And the other ones are not agreeing with their recommendation. That's what I understood, but I could be wrong. They can elaborate. But that's what I understood it to mean then. But before CEO you come, your minister will allow you, because I will give it to the minister, then he will. Minister, please.
Thank you, Chair. This is not the first time we are handling such bad situations. An engineer who went to Makerere here did the same principles that the Chinese did in the engineering. The same with owners engineer. I've always emphasized, can we address issues technically as engineers? And I'm so pleased, at least they have come a little way into working as a team as engineers. This project is about engineering, and all of them take responsibility. So what is being said here, in my simple understanding, owner's engineer and my engineers are saying diversion. I don't think there should be an argument on this, and I'm happy the president has alluded to that. We have got to capture it, and then they go into designing the diversion. And the principle which we want to see is to allow the investigation. The other structures which they say they are designing in China have got to come to sit on a good foundation. If you don't have a good foundation, however good the structure and the design is, we shall go back. So I would request the president to allow the engineers to sit and come up with a solution when they have a dry condition. The definition of dry condition is for engineers to explain. I'm not going to be looking at what do you mean by a dry condition. To enable them do the investigation. And then the others will actually superficial, which you put on after you have identified the problem. So this is what I would want the president to agree. I appreciate the president because he actually accepted to take responsibility. There were the 4 elements which the owner's engineer started with. Very excellent. But when it comes to implementation, we are starting to deviate. So, President, this is a contract and a project which was conceived at high level. We have had a discussion between the president, and the president of Uganda was actually writing to his colleague. And if we don't resolve this, we actually let the president of Uganda write to his colleague, and you understand the implications on this. This project was conceived at that high level, and we cannot actually deliver a substandard project which beshames the 2 heads of state. My president has actually called your ambassador when this case was being presented. And this meeting is being elevated to Parliament. And what I would want to see, yes, we must have a diversion. Simple. 2, the cost has to be met by the contractor. 3, I want a solution that lasts for 100 years plus, because I have a dam which is more than 120 years. And that's what I would want to achieve out of this dam. So, Mr. President, I'm sounding tough, but there is no way that we can resolve this matter. And I would wish to request the committee and you, the president, for us to resolve this matter. You have started working to it. Let's go and design the diversion. Let's allow the engineers to work as a team to achieve the principles of engineering. So on my part, this is not the first time I'm doing it. I will commit the supervision at ministerial level, but timely, the committee should accompany me to the site for inspection.
Procedure, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
There is a procedure issue here.
Yeah.
You see, the minister is talking, and there is a cost implication. Do you have the can you comment about the financial implication? Because you have talked about work accompanied by costs. Have we provided cost? Is there any evidence to that? Because tomorrow you can say no.
In circles, and avoiding the real problem and how we should find a cure for it. So I can't understand how even this contractor was selected if he has no competence of technically coming here to explain and solve a problem, because this is a lot of money, over 2 trillion shillings, Uganda shillings. How can the contractor play around with our minds to this level? You know, bringing every party here in the parliament. We have the ministry, we have the consultants, we have the contractor here. We have gone and we have found problems. We have technically received these reports which are showing a problem, and the contractor is not really giving us a direct answer on how to solve this problem. So I do not know under what arrangement, because I think we now have to go and interrogate, you know, all the contractual obligations. What type of contracts did the Uganda government go into with this contractor, where there are these shortfalls, as we have seen technically, because I have seen these dams elsewhere where they have killed thousands of people. Yes. And now we are here looking at a problem, and we have already detected that there can be danger out of it, and the contractor is safely seated in Beijing and not bothered and not even concerned about the gravity of the problem. So what we need to get out of this, we need a clear, precise answer how we get out of this problem. Otherwise, I don't see value for our time here if you are not taking responsibility of these defects. All these defect liabilities which have been technically portrayed through all the technical information we have received here in Parliament. We must find an answer for these technical liabilities. We cannot really keep allowing shoulder work in this country. We have seen enough of this shoulder work, and this is a government taxpayers' money. So we cannot really afford to come and be belittled in this meeting with this rigmaroling of this Chinese contractor not giving us facts and not even showing concern and taking responsibility about this magnitude of the problem. So I need that answer before these people leave here. They must, otherwise we should detain them here until they give us proper answer. We cannot allow you to live here.
I have page 169 of your report of 9th December to 14th December 2024. And in your report, your own report, you say, during the current underwater inspection of the pier between SP 1 to 3 and 2 to 1, a few gaps at different chainage were observed for the first time along the joint between the bottom slab and the pier wall. Some of these gaps extend to the protective cover of the reinforcement, posing a risk of corrosion to the pier wall's reinforcement. To prevent further deterioration, it is recommended to promptly implement repair measures to the seal, the joint area between the wall and the slab to enhance structural durability. Are we together? The underwater intervention that you are talking about, do you think it guarantees structural durability, or it is only remedial action? In your own report, you sound an alarm in which you are saying we must do A, B, C, D to reduce the risk of erosion, to protect the reinforcement cover. Otherwise, there will not be structural durability. Having given this report, do you agree whether this is your report or it's someone else who wrote it? First answer me on that one.